Hey guys, welcome to Amity Tracks. Well, we had something else ready to go for this episode, but obviously, when events sometimes occur to where we need to rearrange the schedule a little bit, and news broke today, of course, that Tina Turner passed away at 83, I believe. And yeah, I don't know all the details exactly, but the news broke this afternoon at least. So I definitely wanted to get up here and give a tribute to Tina Turner, at least from my perspective. A lot of you guys know her life story. It's a harrowing story in some respects, but it's also a very inspiring story, of course. One of triumph over great adversity, and so to where she is, I think, become a inspiration, especially to women, beyond just the music realm, right? Just with her amazing story. But I'm gonna focus on the music because she was a giant, one of only three women to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice. Now that's a very short list, man or woman, of people that have two inductions, and she's only one of three women. The other two being Stevie Nicks and Carole King. But Tina, both as a solo artist, of course, and with Ike and Tina. So, real briefly, just a kind of a little biographical sketch. She was born 1939. Anna Mae Bullock was her name when she was born, her birth name. She was born into a sharecropper family in Tennessee. As a teenager, she was discovered by Ike Turner, who basically groomed her to be a star in his band. I guess groomed her in more ways than one. And yeah, they reached huge success. I mean, Ike and Tina were huge, in the late '60s and in the '70s. They toured with the Rolling Stones and a lot of those big bands. Yeah, huge, huge, huge. But as most of you know, it was they of course were married or got married, and it was Ike was a brutal human being, and abused her in all ways, but including physically. He would. And if you read the stories or you've heard interviews with her or read her I Tina, her autobiography, where she's always very open about this, about what had happened. He would often beat her, right before going on stage, and to where she'd have to cover up bruises and swelling with makeup and all that kind of stuff. So, horrendous situation, obviously, and to where she finally gained the courage to break free from his grasp. Kind of the famous story that she's told many, many times, but it was one night in Dallas. They were there, I guess, on tour, and after a beating, she snuck out of the hotel room while he was asleep. She grabbed a credit card and as she likes to say, and I guess it's true, 36 cents is all she had, and was eventually able to get on an airplane to California and never looked back. Ike Turner got most of everything in the divorce settlement, and so she basically had to start from scratch. I mean, start from the beginning again and work her way back up. And then, of course, this happened. 1984's Private Dancer, massive record, lovely back cover too. Massive record. What's Love Got to Do with It? Of course, one of the iconic songs of the '80s. But I mean, you got Better Be Good to Me, which was great on here. Private Dancer, written by Mark Knopfler. All those were hits. This is a great record. Some of these covers on here too. I Can't Stand the Rain, great soul cover. Let's Stay Together, of course, her cover of the Al Green classic. And then she does 1984, right? Just a great cover of that David Bowie song. So yeah, she awesome. This was huge. This was massive. This this brought her into sort of like iconic status in the 80s. And was really amazing because she was an icon as part of Ike and Tina. But there were I guess questions over whether she could do it on her own, because Ike was the genius behind everything, right? This made her even bigger than Ike and Tina had been. And so of course she could make it on her own and then some. It's huge, huge, and just a great record. I mean, a great pop record, and she was just such a force. And of course, especially people of my generation remember her in Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Anti-Entity was her character, right? And oh man, I'm a huge Mad Max fan. I love that whole film series, and so it's just again of people of my generation that was iconic. Tina in all her glory as Auntie, and she did a great job too. She was a great villain, in that film. She was awesome. And then her work on that soundtrack. For me, like those are my favorite Tina Turner songs. I've got those both here on 12-inch singles. Got well, of course, the big one. We don't need another hero, right? Which was, I mean, I that is one of my favorite songs of the '80s. We don't. It's just God. I don't know why, but just that is such a just that music pulls you in. But of course, her vocal delivery is just perfect. Man, it's just there's something about it. Like for me, at least, there's certain songs that just sort of take me to like a whole different place, and that's one of them. I just love that song. The other song that she did on that soundtrack was great too. It didn't get quite as much airplay, but One of the Living, which I have here on 12-inch. Both of these songs from the Mad Max soundtrack were massive, and I think really kind of a piece with this. I almost kind of include these songs with this. Well, in fact, I have on CD. I have like the super deluxe whatever version of this, and on the second CD, on the second disc with all the extras, it's got those Mad Max songs on there. I mean, they really all kind of are all part of this period, I think, and that's for me that these are my favorite things of Tina Turner, even more than the Ike and Tina stuff, which was great. Of course, her iconic cover of "Proud Mary," Nutbush City Limits, which was great because I believe that's where she was from. Was I guess Nutbush, Tennessee, I think, and so that there's a lot of biographical stuff there. But yeah, for me, it's that, and I mean, I've got to mention one of my favorite performances of her too is on this. Brian Adams, "Reckless," which was that 80? Yeah, 84. God, it's a big year. When Private Dancer, and then whenever Mad Max came out, I guess it was that year, or the next year, and then and because she does a duet with Brian Adams on here. It's Only Love. I don't know if you remember that song. It's so great. I mean, what's cool about it? It is a kick-ass rocker. It's not some sappy ballad or anything. It's like it's got grit and guitars, and both of them, but especially Tina is just rocking out on it, and it's such a great song. That's probably one of my favorite songs of hers too. Is "It's Only Love" with Brian Adams. It appears on Brian Adams's Reckless album, which was huge too at that time. But yeah, so I mean, I've always applauded her success. Honestly, kind of some of the stuff that came later, I wasn't as huge of a fan of, but I mean, all power to her. Interesting too. She sort of kind of backed away from the industry in some ways. Later in life, like moved to Switzerland, right, with her younger husband, and yeah, so it's an interesting person. Interesting. I mean, again, just a fascinating story. One of the great singers. Uh, really crossover singers. I mean, rock singers. She's the queen of rock and roll. They call her, right? But rock singer, soul singer. I mean, she could do it all, and just with attitude and grace. She was beautiful. She was just cool too. I mean, I don't know. Again, for me, being in the Mad Max movie, I like it's, she's cool. So anyway, I just felt like we needed to say something on Tina Turner in the comments. Let's talk Tina. What are your favorite songs of hers? What albums do you really like? Just thoughts and whatever on her artistry and everything else. Let's talk Tina Turner and rest in peace. She was one of the greats. Anyway, please do subscribe to the channel. We appreciate it. Helps us out. Like the videos, hit the bell for notifications, all that. And the video that we were going to put on this time, we'll push it to next week. So I got some good stuff coming up. Haven't done some rankings in a while, so I think our next video is going to be a ranking, I believe, of an artist. So anyway, we'll get to all that. Take care, guys.